Good morning, I'm Brent, and this is a look back at my first month learning how to ride a skateboard. So, to start the story, I learned how to ride a skateboard when I was about 10 years old. I only started because a bunch of my friends from school started to take lessons at a local skate park. And being at that age where you don't want to miss out, I started to take the lessons as well. But back then, I loved it, but I wasn't interested in it. So, when the weather turned to winter, I stopped. We all stopped. And we never skated again after that. But recently, I've been watching loads of videos on YouTube by Braille Skateboarding, John Hill, George Poulos, all of which have been super incredibly inspirational to me and pretty much the main reason I got into skateboarding again after 12 years. So in a way, thank you. And if you're a beginner skateboarder, the links will be down in the description, so go check them out. But don't be fooled. They make it look so easy. And skateboarding is hard. So I started by digging out my 12-year-old skateboards. I dusted them off and headed to the local skate park about 5 a.m. so that nobody else would be there and I could just have the place to myself and get used to it again. And I began with the basics, just learning how to push, keep my balance, and push again. It sounds straightforward, but to actually feel comfortable shifting your weight over a moving object takes some getting used to. And I think it took about 2 or 3 weeks to truly feel comfortable and stable. Once I'd warmed up a bit, I went into the park and I had fun going up and down the slopes, rolling up forwards and down backwards, which is called fakie. Going up forwards, doing a backside kick turn, which is where you pivot the board on its back wheels, turning 180 degrees, so you go down the ramp forwards. And I did all of this a lot. I needed to get comfortable, but most importantly, I needed to get confident. Most of the skill that is skateboarding is confidence. Then I went through this phase where I wanted to learn all the components in the board. The wheels, the bearings, the trucks, the bushings, the hardware, the grip tape, all of it. And in doing this, I realized a few things. The decks didn't make a difference, other than the wider one was slightly more comfortable. The trucks didn't make a difference because I'm not grinding anything yet. The bushings, however, did, because they compress in between the two halves of the trucks, allowing you to turn left or right. These ones in one of my boards were so old that they become solid. They have no give to them. It might as well be a rock. And so when I replaced them, it made all the difference. It was like riding a completely different board, and it became so much more enjoyable when it actually turned left and right as I leaned. The wheels didn't really make a difference. The softer ones were more comfortable to ride on the road, and the harder ones were nicer in the skate park. But the main thing, and arguably the most important thing, were the bearings. They were so filled with this brown gunk that they just didn't roll. And so I took them apart and I cleaned them and I put more lubricant in them. And now they actually roll. And it's so much more enjoyable to skate because I can go pretty fast now. I mean, yeah, these aren't the best bearings. I don't even know what bearings they are, but they work and they're better than they were beforehand. And that was infinitely better than what I started with. Surprising that a skateboard that rolls is better than one that doesn't. Then I started trying to learn how to ollie, and oh boy, this could have been a video in itself. I think I have 12 hours of footage of me jumping, trying to just pop the board up. I knew this was going to be a long process, so I prepared myself to be patient, and so I kept trying day after day after day, which you'll pretty soon find out. And I found the challenge to be quite fun because it tested my physical coordination and rewarded me with genuine personal satisfaction when I successfully landed it, or made even the slightest consistent progress. And even though my progress was slow, I had this urge to just keep trying. So I did a lot. But to break up the monotony of this, I'm going to move on to what I call the drop-in saga. And so a drop-in is where you stand on the tail of your board with your wheels resting over the edge of a ledge, and you put all your weight on your front foot and you ride down the slope, like this. So I started small, really slowly, gradually working my way up to higher ledges. After a while, I started to feel super optimistic, and so I went straight to the big one. And straight off the bat I realized I'd bitten off more than I could chew. So I ran back to the smaller ledges for some more practice.
First try for the rest of it?
I felt so good for achieving this accomplishment that I just did it over and over again, just to get that fear out of my system, so that I could feel free to just do it anytime I liked. And back to the ollies. There were so many of these clips that I just felt I needed to at least show a few of them each time. But in amongst the many attempts to try an ollie, I did other stuff like learning to manual, which is just balancing on the back wheels. Another skill that just takes practice, time, and consistency. I also learned how to do a shove it, but not a pop shove it, because I can't pop, because I can't ollie yet. I spent an afternoon trying to improve my balance, and the first step was trying to ride switch, which is where you put the opposite foot forward and you try and skate like normal. That's pretty hard, and I'm definitely going to have to keep practicing that. Second step was trying to push off and skate with only one foot on the board. And this turned out to be surprisingly entertaining because for me, it was just on that boundary of being challenging but achievable. And then more ollies. I realized that some of these aren't the most interesting to watch, but when I come back to this video in a year's time, I know that I'll want to see my initial progress that I made. So, sorry. Also, trying to ride off a curb turned out to be way more of a challenge for me. So I took it to the skate park where the ground was a bit smoother and my wheels wouldn't get stuck in the road.
Yes! 3 in a row.
And the last day of ollies. I definitely have made progress, but there's still so much work to be done, especially as I can't do an ollie while riding. So I can't ollie up a curb, which is one of the most fundamental things I need to learn how to do. And well, that's it. 1 month of skating condensed into one video. And I know it probably doesn't look that impressive, but for me, I'm super proud of the improvement that I've made. And I'm going to keep skating. I'm going to keep going to skate parks because I want to have that little incremental improvement. And I think skating does that, and it proves something more than just the physical activity of skating. It proves that if you try and keep on going, you can achieve it. And I like that message for life in general, that if you just keep practicing, you will eventually get better. I'm going to be making a few more videos in the next couple of weeks. So if you've enjoyed this one, leaving a like would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to stay up to date with the adventures that I get up to, well, consider subscribing, because they're going to be amazing. But until then, bye-bye. I can also carve and pump on a half pipe, but I'm leaving that for month 2, so subscribe if you want to see that. Now I'm going to go surf.